how to clean the carburetor on a 2014 CRF 125. And this will be the same for all carburetors going up to when they start fuel injecting these bikes.
The tools you'll be needing to take off the carburetor are needle nose pliers, a punch, a 2x6 Phillips head screwdriver, and a 10mm wrench.
So first we're gonna start by taking off the screw to the air boot. Kind of loosen that up. Then next we're gonna start taking off the fuel lines. So we get this off. Right there. Some may not be that easy to just pull off of your fingers. And that's what the little punch is for. There we go. Now, sometimes it's easier just to take off the carb and then worry about getting the tubes off, because sometimes it just goes that way. Now we're gonna start loosening these off. There we go. Then once you get off that one, you're gonna have to go to the other side. The next bolt right there. Now that we have the bolts off, into the hydraulic cable. So sometimes you do need a needle nose or a crescent wrench, just something that'll kind of get tight on it just to get it off, because sometimes it's not always hand tight. So you may or may not be able to get away with doing needle nose. So yeah, we're gonna have to use a crescent wrench. Get back to you. Now that we've got the crescent wrench, use that to turn it. Now it is finger loose. Just twist it off with your hands. Still is a little tight though. Especially depending on what all has been done to this bike with the coloring wise. Now time to pull the carburetor out. So first you have to pull it towards you off the studs and then try to get it off the bolt in the boot. You're kind of gonna push it towards the boot and then pull it off. So, there you go. You come towards yourself like that, pull hard, get off the studs. Then once you get it out there, try to get it off the boot like that. Now you gotta get your fuel cable. Sometimes it's really stuck on there. Like that. Make sure to have your fuel off as well. And now your throttle assembly is out as well. Okay, now that you have the carb off, you're gonna get rid of that extra fuel out of there. Right back into the tank, just draining out the little float area. Slowly but surely. There we go. Now you have just the carb here. Now it's time to disassemble it, and then we'll show you the tools that you need for that. Now that the carb is off, you don't have to do this, but I choose to do it just to make it a little easier on myself, is take off the choke. Here goes that. arm. And then that. Now you're gonna take off your float area. So you got 3 screws on the bottom here. You use the same screwdriver you used to take off the boot. There's 1. There's 2. Now once you get in the inside, you will be needing some Phillips, and you will be needing some carb cleaner. Okay. I got that split. Time to break it open. This broke off, just age, the bottom tube. And we'll show you breaking it open in just a minute. Okay, so now we're taking it apart like that. Yeah, you can see a little bit of dirt, debris in there. See the jet, float, little float plunger right there. So you're gonna put this on the ground. Then you're gonna wanna start by removing the float. Just gonna push out this little pin right here. Then you're gonna lift out the float with the little plunger without accidentally dropping it. So now that little plunger is hanging in there. Just put that over to the side, the pin. Now you can see that these are kind of gummed up a little bit, so we're gonna be taking these out to clean. So let me just grab this Phillips right over here. So now you're gonna start removing these 2 jets. Like that. There's 1. Here's the other one. That was right there. Take it out slowly. There you go. You can kind of look through them holes. Make sure there's no obstructions. Check through here, the choke. Everything looks pretty good. So now you're gonna want to get carburetor cleaner or brake cleaner. I use brake cleaner because it's cheaper. It's pretty much the same thing. Just start shooting out little areas. Okay. Now that I got that shot out, left the main important thing. I'm gonna get this bulge too, just so I don't have any gunk in there. Now you get to the main part, which is these jets, which is really what matters when it comes to the carburetor running right. Get it through the whole thing. Make sure to shoot out every little hole. So, shoot that out. Jet should be good. Now come to this jet. Shoot it both ways. Those all seem to be firing out good. So now you got these clean. Now it's time to just reassemble back the carburetor. So you're gonna come back the same way. Put that in there, the main jet, and this little tiny guy over here. Right up in there. Grab back your Phillips. Get them tight, nothing crazy. Just get them pretty snug. There you go. Now time to go get the float back in. Make sure to lower the plunger into the hole. Not like that. So you're gonna make sure you get the plunger right down in there. And lower it into that little brass hole right there. Then you're gonna get your pin and get your pin through the float. Right through like that. Now put this little piece back in. There we go. Now we're gonna go reattach the bottom of this carburetor. Like that. Make sure I have this thing going this way so you got the little pin that drops down into there. You get your screws. Place them back in. Twist them back on. There you go. Make sure to do it pretty tight so you get the seal, or else you'll just be leaking fuel out of here. All right, now it's time to get the choke back on. Place that hole there. Come over here with that. Screw in the hole. Make sure that's down all the way. And make sure this is tight or your bike will just jump out of whatever choke position it wants. So now time to put it back on. I'm gonna come up to the throttle. I'm gonna go make sure to place that into a little hole in the middle. And it has a little groove that you wanna line up. So the groove matches up with these two little holes. If you look inside, there's two little kind of sliders that want to go with that groove, like that. I'm going to screw this back on, like that. Doesn't have to be crazy tight or anything. Now it's going back on those bolts. So go in there like that. Place this into the boot. It's a little finicky part. May need to get a screwdriver to get it in there to help you out a little. Let's see. Almost got it in. Check the other side. Make sure it's got a good seal around. It does. Sorry, I press it into the boot as much as possible. And this will be a pain. I mean, this does really suck to do. Top doesn't want to really seal in there. Now I got it in, pulled it a bit towards me. I'm gonna push it over. I'm pulled away so I make sure I don't mess up this gasket over here. Will not get a good seal. There we go. Got it onto there. I'll make sure to put your fuel tube back. Right there. Okay. And this little bottom tube has broken off. It's old, so need a new one of those. And now it's time to go get those bolts back on. So also it's gonna be time to tighten up your airbox seat and boot to the carb. Come over here, tighten that in. There we go. Come over here. Get each side bolt in. Now at this point too, if you have your fuel line on, you can start filling your carb. Turn your fuel on. Grab your tin. Snug them up. There we go. Okay. I need to get that hose back on. I flew up here. Here we go. There's that. Put that back on there. Getting a little problem for that missing hose. Should be when it starts though, it'll be good. Okay, now time to start it. Off the stand over here. Make sure it feels on.